we have Falling to Pieces, composed Karen Sherwood makes the songs. All right, next up we have Falling to Pieces, official by Maluka, lyrics by Shattered Veil, composed by Karen Sherwood, who makes the songs from a Call of Duty, Black Ops 6, probably the zombies. So once again, everybody, this is a Basterd's LFA, a layman-friendly analysis. I am a professionally trained musician / composer. My goal here is to explain things in a way that you don't have to be a professionally trained musician to understand what is happening here musically. If you like the sound of that, make sure you subscribe, make sure you like the video, and that you join the Discord and all that good stuff. This is recorded live on stream, so there's going to be a lot of pausing. I'm going to be giving a lot of commentary. I'm going to be explaining a lot of things, and we're doing this in one take. So let's do this. Falling to Pieces. Let's go. Night comes too soon again. Okay, we start. It's been 5 seconds, and I like this from the previous one. Let me just delete it. So, we have two elements. Songs are a little bit tricky sometimes to analyze, but this one is composed, so it's going to have a theme. I'm not going to go through the lyrics. I'm horrible with lyrics. We are having two elements over here. We have the synth, giving us a sense of rhythm with the accompaniment. And then we have the vocalist, so we have accompaniment from the synth keyboard, and then we have the motif being given to us from the vocalist as the vocalist sings the lyrics. The motif being the smallest version of your musical idea, the seed from which everything else is gonna come from. Let's continue. Variation of the motif, so still there. So I like this. I like something that you can do a lot with motifs in vocals is the different types of motific development. There are many ways you can do this. There's, you can elongate, you can elongate, you can reduce, you can sequence, and you can add stuff in between. Everything so that it still kind of sounds the same, but not entirely. And something that lyrics will force you to do a lot is precisely that. To add stuff in the middle, add stuff at the end. You can have inversions. You can have all sorts of things with motific development. So in this case, we started going with a shape kind of like this. The motif started with going with a shape kind of like this one, like a little arc going up and down. Then we had another one kind of like that. Then another one kind of lower in the scale. And then another one that was kind of that, but also going up. So we're having a lot of motific development. We're keeping the overall same shape of the motif of that music to keep that sense of familiarity with us. Common theme in the zombie songs, the lyrics are usually from the perspective of a zombie. Nice. I didn't know that. That's cool. There you go, the motif, high up, expanded. So we switch from that synth, and something that I love doing, that I love when happens, is when you have a busy bass, when you have something, in this case it was that pulsating synth that you have, and then you take it away. Usually it works very effectively when you have drums and you take those away. You have bass, you take that away. Right now we had a synth and we took that away, but because it was bass, now we're having this upper synth and you have the vocals playing, and it gives you this sense of that you just jumped off, you just went off the cliff, you just took off, whatever analogy you want to make, but now you're up in the air. And it gives you this sense of momentum going forward and going upwards. It's a very, very strong, a very, very powerful technique to use this kind of thing. I don't even know what the name of this would be, but there you go. Lift off, I guess. And we have a second vocalist doing what is called harmony. We're harmonizing, basically singing the same thing, but in a different point of the scale, making it sound very nice and pretty the way that it is right now. And yeah, Call of Duty Zombies has really good tracks, yeah. And here comes the drop. I love that. I love that. So, we just used one of the most powerful tools that musicians have in their arsenal, one of the most dangerous double-bladed tools, one of the most effective things. Every EDM artist uses it, every metal band uses it to an extent, every musician uses this to an extent. Not everyone masters this. Is one of the most powerful things you can possibly use, and that is silence. That split second of silence before the snare hit and we start the guitar and the drum, incredibly powerful. Again, when you're making music, you're either building tension or you are resolving it. That tension. And usually you want to, when you're building tension, you're building up. And when you resolve that tension, you want to let that down. And what happens here in between is what we call the cadence. And in many times, the cadence is going to be a set of chords or something. But in this case, the cadence was silence. We just let the last chord stop, do that final leap, and now we're down here again. Really good stuff. With a very chunky guitar riff. And now we're revisiting that intro, that first verse. I love doing this. I love revisiting material like this. Because it's like those movies that have the plot twist and then they go back and explain everything kind of thing. Or that now that you see the movie again with that in mind. Like right now we're doing that with Expedition 33. We're playing New Game Plus knowing what we know now. And we're just catching the little details over there. Now you get to do this in this track. It's kind of in a reduced version of that. We get to hear this music with the context of what we just heard. So very powerful, nice and cheap way of repeating. And now we are adding a variation. We're adding variation to the verse. We're adding the drums. We're adding the bass because, of course, we introduced the band. And now we want to do that. Let's hear what happens when they So it's almost the same when it comes to the vocals. It's just a little bit more active here or there. Really good. Back into this lift-off thing, which it seems to be like the maybe the chorus or pre-chorus. And when it comes to songs, a difference with songs and the other types of pieces that we've been seeing. So we've done whenever I explain structure, I've been doing we have section A, then we have section B, then like A prime or whatever. But when it comes to songs, usually that's for instrumental stuff. When it comes to songs, you have more defined terms. Like you have the intro, you have the verse, we have the pre-chorus. Over here, we're probably about to have the chorus. We might have a breakdown or something in between, that kind of stuff. But at the end of the day, these are all things that could be classified under those. We have hooks. We have bridges. Stuck in my left hand. We have bridges. We have We have outros, of course. We have solos. We have a lot of these terms. We have instrumentals. We have so many things that you can call, and all of these can easily and when it comes to classical, all of these except for the intro and the outro, you can just give them a letter. You can just give them the different things. Maybe not for the solos. Solos might have something like a cadenza or something. And for EDM, you're going to have a lot more. But the thing is, this is something I like about classical music. It doesn't matter what. You can just assign them the simple letters, and that's it. And that's it. No need to give more complex names than that, which is why I've been using that to explain the sections, because now that we have the verse, we're back to part A, but we're kind of A prime, a variation on that, and it makes things simpler, in my opinion. It keeps things simpler, especially when it comes to more complex sounding pieces like this one. Variation of the pre-chorus or variation of B. Let's hear, or the end of A. This could still be part of A. And we have the chorus. Oh, this is beautiful. I love the open chords that the guitar is using right now for the chorus, and that's usually something you want to do for choruses. You want to avoid having too many chugs in the chorus. Usually in songs, the most powerful thing you can have for a chorus is to make it as melodic as possible. You want the verses to have a lot of momentum, that kind of thing. Of course, this is not a general like iron law. You can have bands that don't do this and it still works. But if you want to have a good impact, you want your pieces, you want your different segments, your sections to have contrast. And in this case, what was our contrast? The verse, you had just the synth, and then you had the synth with the drums. Then the pre-chorus had the higher synth. We had the little interlude with the guitar. And now the chorus, we are just letting the guitar be. We're letting the guitar play those open chords, no complex riffs, nothing like that. We're just letting the guitar be the backing for the vocals, and the vocals are going to do another variation of the motif that have, there's so many songs by Kevin Sherwood you have to check out. Sorry. And I love that the vocals are also doing a call and response right now. Call and response, of course, being the musical concept where one instrument plays something and the other instrument immediately answers. It's such a common thing, and right now we're hearing it between the two, that they are complementing each other, finishing their sentences, if you want to put it that way, right? It's one of the most beautiful things you can do when it comes to music. And you can scale this in very, very many ways. We've had cases where the call and response is done in such a small scale that it's like, you know, instrument 1 plays this much, instrument 2 plays one note, instrument 1 plays the rest, kind of thing. So there are many, many ways of doing call and response, and right now it is one of the more let's call it cliche versus a musical cliche. Unlike in other genres, in other mediums, a cliche in music is good. Because a cliche works, and it works for a reason. And in this case, we are having one singer sing one line, the other one sings the next line right after that, and we're having this back and forth while letting them hold some of those notes. It allows you to get through a lot of text without having to spend too much time on that. It's very nice. And when they come back together, it sounds very nice. Oh, there you go. Another moment of silence. Again, a powerful tool. And we bring this moment of dissonance, contrast. Some information singers Kevin usually has. Linda singing as the first singer, and she does screaming, while Malika primarily sings more operatic voice. They have a lot of call and response songs with both singers. That's really good. I mean, if you have more than one vocalist and you're not doing call and response constantly, you are wasting a lot of potential. Because you can do so much with that. Just the fact that it's there on principle doesn't mean that it's going to get old very easily. There's so many things you can do with call and response. It's insane. Is this just Maluka? Okay. So now we have this almost breakdown. We're going back to that B section. We're letting those guitars really chunk it out. This is something I enjoy about metal. You can genuinely have parts that simply do not have a melody. It's just the chords. And it just goes really well. Jazz is also good at that. Blues, not as much. You do need a melody because blues is very repetitive in that sense. But it's just so much fun. Like metal, jazz has that where you can just literally have just the accompaniment go for a while and it works. Especially because it's high contrast right now. Again, that little sense, I like these little pauses that we're having, gives you time to breathe in and to absorb what you just heard. It's clever. It's clever, especially considering how much is going on in this piece, in this song. A piece is usually an instrumental. A song has lyrics and singing. especially with how much is going on, there are a lot of layers, and it's not just like the moments of absolute silence are fairly rare, but we are letting things echo out. We're letting you, the listener, soak in what just happened before we continue. Silence is underrated, and silence is extremely powerful. But yeah, pausing here, it allows me to not need to pause. Of course, I'm doing it to explain what I think is going on, and it just gives you that time to absorb, to just process what just happened. Especially because we went from this super lovely melodic chorus to a breakdown, basically, and now we're going back to the melodic. So it makes it feel like you're correcting yourself. I did that with one of my pieces once. Like I introduced the wrong page halfway through the piece, so it's still part of the same song. It just sounds like it probably doesn't belong there. And there's a pause at the start and at the end that gives you that sense of, was it supposed to be there? Kind of thing. Because it's very heavy contrast. Let's continue. And now we have that. So yeah, here it's a repeat. Here it's been a repeat. Now we're singing on top of a variation of that breakdown. Really cool. Oh, the melodies are so nice. And off we go to the guitar solo. Let's see what you got. I was about to say, wow, that was a really short guitar solo, but no, that was deceptive as hell. That was deceptive as hell. So we put a little bit more vocals there. We teased the guitar solo. We put the vocals, and just when I thought, oh, is there not going to be a guitar solo, the guitar starts soloing. Well played. Well played. It had a moment of shredding. Very nice, very melodic. Back to the chorus. Such a beautiful song. And yes, we do something that I love. I love having this. I don't put this in my own music because it's way too much. But having a guitar solo during the last chorus when you're closing the song is such a fun thing to do. Mainly because when you're closing the song, you really want that moment of absolute climax. And how do you achieve absolute climax in music? You just bring everything back together. The way I do it with my music is I basically make a tutti. Not a tutti. I just bring the entire ensemble to play together. And usually you want to bring back you want to revisit one of the ideas in such a way that everyone is involved. A tutti. No, that's a tutti. What I'm talking about is a tutti. A tutti. A tutti just means everyone. Most terms in music, in classical music, are Italian. Either Italian, some are German, a handful are French, and that's about it. Like most terms are Italian, and tutti just means everyone, but that is usually everyone plays the exact same thing. A very, very like strong way of finishing tracks. Like there are so many ways you can finish tracks, and in this case we are doing the revisiting of a previous section, probably one of the more unique sections of the track, and then you just add more elements to it. I do that, for example, in my song Second Conquest. I play the intro again, but now I include all the instruments, and instead of putting a guitar solo, I put a quote from Genghis Khan. And that gives it this whole thing of, oh man, we're revisiting, but now there's all this stuff going on. Same thing is happening here, but with a guitar solo while we're playing the chorus. So it gives it that moment of everything is elevated, stakes are up, everything is cool, climax. Let's see where this goes, because we still have about a minute left of music. beautiful, beautiful melodies, beautiful calm response. And the guitar is going at it, the solo's going at it. And I like this, the guitar is partially playing a guitar solo on its own, partially coming back and playing the melody along, doubling the melody of the vocalists. It's such a cool thing to do with a guitar solo in this kind of setting, and it has a very, very powerful effect. And we end, and this time we interrupt what used to be the interrupted silence with that ending of the guitar solo to just break the pattern of silences that we had to bring in that final breakdown and end the song. Creative. Very dissonant, very cool. And there you go. There you go. That's the end of it. That was really fun. That was really fun. A very strong ending, especially if you're ending it with that post riff that you had, like that little breakdown. That was really cool. There you have it. That was Falling to Pieces, written by Kevin Sherwood with Maluka in the vocals. Really, really good guitarists, and with Aaron Marshall from Intervals. Really good stuff from Call of Duty Black Ops 6. I assume this is from Zombies, because it's the best tracks in Call of Duty are from Zombies. Once again, everybody, this has been a Basterd's LFA, a layman-friendly analysis. This was recorded live on stream, so if you like the video, make sure and you're watching this on YouTube, make sure you are subscribed to the channel, leaving a like, sharing the video, all that good stuff. Join the Discord, because that's where everything gets announced. And if you want to request a song, make sure that you leave a comment, and just drop a comment. Let me know what track from what game. Game soundtracks only, please. If it's licensed music for this kind of stuff, it needs to be composed for the video game. So random music, not very good due to copyright. I just don't want to risk the copyright. But yeah, there you go. Really good stuff. I enjoyed this. That was Falling to Pieces from Call of Duty. There you go. Good stuff. Good stuff. But yeah, let's move on.